Okay, a little video today on disassembling the Tokarev. This particular Tokarev is a Soviet Tokarev. You can tell by the CCCP around the black star and the chrome line barrel. Before we take anything apart, we're going to want to check safe the gun. Pop out your magazine with this little button on the left side. Comes out. And this is your slide stop. We're going to want to pull the slide back, push up on the slide stop into that little notch. That opens it up, at which point we could verify the feed chamber, the path, mag well. Take a good look down there. This gun is cleared and it is safe. I'm going to lower down our slide latch, bring our slide forward, but it keeps the hammer down, and we're going to keep the hammer down because it makes it easier for reassembly later when we put the slide back on. So now that we got that all cleared and safe, the first thing we're going to do is the slide latch retaining clip. We're going to want to pull it back, just like that. Turn the gun over, give it a little jiggle, and the slide latch will pop right out. When it pops out, we can bring our slide forward, put your hand over it, and capture this recoil spring assembly. Because it's not captured, it is free floating. Turn it over, take it out. It's your recoil spring assembly. Come to the end, your barrel bushing, turn it 180 degrees, pull it straight off. Your barrel, bring it upside down, it'll drop out of the grooves. Go forward a bit, come back over. Make sure this little part is down, and your barrel will pop right out. That's really all you need to do here. If you really want to go farther, you can pop this pin out and it'll release your firing pin and the spring inside the housing. And if you're really ambitious, you could pop this pin out from the bottom, pop it up there, take it out here, and that'll release your extractor. And careful, there's a little spring in the back here. I haven't really needed to do that. As long as it's functioning, I don't plan on taking that apart. Back to our bottom, we could take out the trigger group, comes straight up. One piece, everything's in there. You got your hammer, your disconnector, your sear, and your sear spring. All one piece. Kind of nice the way the Soviets made that, so if something went wrong with it in the field, they could just throw this one away and pop in a new one, and they were good to go. Now we want to take off our grip panels. There's a little latch in there, it looks like a letter T. You want to move it from the front of the grip to the back of the grip, and that'll release the panel that has the lanyard cut out. Pops out right like that. And inside, you can see the other one. Just gotta move the front tab down and the rear tab up. Like that. And it'll pop out. Now you got your trigger here, and inside here is the trigger return spring. So right about just below the back of the trigger, you're going to press in that spring, it'll drop your trigger down. Just keep pulling all the way out. Pop it out. There's your trigger return spring. The easy way to get it out is just flip your gun upside down, give it a little shake, and it comes out. Now we'll take apart the magazine. Look on the bottom here, there's this little tab. You don't want to push that in. The floor plate could go forward a bit, so I got it off just a little bit. Come a little bit more, keeping this thing compressed. It is under pressure, the other floor plate. That's the tab we pressed down earlier, and it just sits on top of the spring. Spring comes out. There's your magazine body, and you're the top of the elevator. Okay. So that's all the parts all disassembled. reassembly. Take our magazine, take the elevator part, orients like this, that little slope part, this is near the front like that, pop it in. Now our spring, it's going to want to orientate like this. The back high part of the spring and the coil goes towards the rear, the flat part of your magazine. Okay, see your elevators up here, good to go. Flip it over, push your spring in. And you got this little plate with the tab faces up. And it's only round on this side and it's flat on the back. So it's pretty obvious, this is flat on the back, round on the front. Only goes in one way. As long as that little tab is facing up, we're good to go. So you kind of compress it all inside there so it's below the edge. Take your plate with the lanyard loop, start it on there. Slide all the way. That tab should pop right into place. If it doesn't, when this is all the way over, just give it one of those and it should force it in. There's the magazine. Now we're going to take our frame, take our trigger return spring. Now you see on the bottom has that little hook looking thing right here. That's going to lock in behind this little pin here. It just kind of slides down, goes in behind the pin, just like that. Okay. And you might want to just kind of hold it in place or it'll kind of drop out. Not a big deal. Take your trigger, noticing that the bottom part here is flat. That stays on the bottom. I just simply bring that through the frame, bring it up, start the bottom through there, pull down on, oops, spring came out, okay, no biggie, put that back in. There we go. Take our trigger, I'll just set it in here again. Get it started through the slot. Now pull down on the bottom of this while pushing the back part up. There you go. Now grab our grip panel, the side with no lanyard loop, set it on. I'm just gonna flip those to lock it in place. Good to go. Take our one with the lanyard cutout on the side with the lanyard loop, put it in. We're going to move that little latch inside there towards the front of the grip. Right now it's facing towards the back of the grip there. You want to just grab the end and push it over. There we go. And we simply take our trigger group. You see these little cutouts on the frame. And there's these little raised parts on here. They fall right into that little groove. It's only one way it goes. Easy peasy. Okay, put that down and work on our slide. Got our slide here, it's upside down. Take your barrel, put it in. Now you see these little raised parts? Inside there's little grooves that it's going to drop into when it's at the right spot. Just push it in, you'll hear it kind of drop right there. Take your barrel bushing, put it on kind of upside down like that, just goes straight in, 180 degrees, locks your barrel in place. Now, our recoil spring assembly, see this little bottom part? That's going to sit on the barrel. And these two raised shoulders here and on this side, on either side, are going to go on either side of this raised part of the barrel. So that being said, we'll slide the other end in, lock it into the barrel bushing. Make sure this little tab is up. I usually put my finger here and compress it in. Drop it down onto the barrel. Just get it on there like that. Make sure it's centered in there. We're good to go. Now, still holding the spring, we're going to flip it over, holding the spring with my thumb. I'm going to slide the slide back onto the frame rails. Get it back to where it's basically flush here, the slide in the frame. We're going to put in our slide latch. And while pressing it in gently, move your slide back a little bit, and you'll see it goes right into place where it needs to be there. On the right hand side, we're going to take that retaining clip, push it forward, lock it in. Now we got all back together. Do a little function test, cock the hammer. Recoil spring's working good. Bring it down to half cock. That's the safety. It's working good. Full cock. Thumb on the hammer while I squeeze the trigger and slowly release the hammer up to decock the gun. That is the disassembly and the reassembly of the Tokarev. All Tokarevs basically come apart the exact same way. Many of them, with the exception of a 9mm or the Zastava, the majority of the parts are interchangeable. As always, abide all laws, be safe, assume every firearm is loaded, prove it safe before you work on it.